And we basically have what I call a patronage economy, where, for example, you have to be aligned with the political party in order for you to access opportunities, which is crowding out a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people. And you've had a lot of migration outside, who have gone outside the country in disgust because they're not able to explore the opportunities in the country. Then, obviously, we go to the issue of corruption, which is a serious issue that everybody feels is not being addressed adequately. There have been stories that have come out, including the gold mafia issue, and it seems that the government has not actually done much on actually, making sure that they actually apprehend the people involved and actually address corruption seriously. So,
hello everyone. Hi, welcome to Rumbi Uncensored. This podcast is super thrilling, and let me tell you something, guys. This is really your home. So I want you to know how important and special you are to me. Without you, definitely I want to be able to do what I do. So I want to say shout out to everyone, new subscribers. I want to say I love you so much. And my regulars, this is your home. If you're new, if it's your first time to really come across my videos, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel because a lot is going to happen. So you don't want to miss any of it, all right? So yeah, just in, not good news at all, bad to me, all are good news. Because good and bad will always work for the good, for those who love the Lord, correct? So the 12 nominees for Citizen Coalition for Change that were sitting in the court, the double candidate issue, have been disqualified. But I'm going to read quickly this tweet from the spokesperson, Fazema Ere. She said, at law, ZIM is the administrative authority seized with receiving nomination papers within the time limit stipulated by law. ZEC even accepts that CCC Bulawayo nominees submitted their nomination papers on time. Why then must these candidates be struck off the ballot? But like you always know, we're going to have people that will actually have something to say. So there's a guy by the name Shomba Nyamuziwa. He said the courts are captured. And then this one always said last minute things is dangerous. Then another is Daddy V. He said, this is no longer about law. ZANU is desperate to win uncontested. ZANU has never won a free and fair election. I'm not saying anything, but it's no coincidence that those tasked with delivering justice were given big monies recently. If we allow them to bar the 12th and get away with it, they were given money, which is quite very sad. Because I think there are two monsters that we are dealing with in Zimbabwe. Number one monster is our culture that is completely lost. The level of selfishness in the country is astounding. And then we also have psychological problem. It's people who are held captive or at ransom, who don't understand the power they have, to free themselves. So they're thinking, if I don't get this little money right now, what am I going to do? So they're at the mercy of the wicked. Yes, they're at the mercy of the wicked. And the only thing we can do to free them is to make sure that at least we approach higher authority. God is the only one that we have right now that will take us forward. And I want to tell you, there's no need for you to panic. Everything's in control. Chill, relax, keep your focus. That's the most important part. I will tell you that. And we have another brother of mine, really, we had such an incredible tweet. He said, that's why in that Galan court this year, hakuna my elections, because even after the elections, pakaita my issues, I don't know, definitely you will not win the court cases. And which is interesting. I'm not a negative person, but one thing that I will tell you is that God is in control. Relax, chill, shh. God is able. My dad will always do that. When I'm in that position where I'm kind of feeling, like I'm feeling surrounded. I feel like when I go to the right, the enemy is there, left, the enemy is there, to the front, the enemy is there. My dad will say, shh. In the midst of your pain, in the midst of such confusion, God is there with you. So relax and chill. I want to give you a word of encouragement and say, shh. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond what you can ever think or ask. So what's in your mind right now? God will surpass that. He's working right now. I can see some of my brothers, Hulu, Hulu Killer is ZANU-PF a supporter. They already have a space going on right now on Twitter. And the title is Ostalos and CCC MPs removed from the ballot. They will blame ZANU-PF again. because they feel like they're in control. It's so sad to see how limited our people are. They think they're in control. But I want to encourage you to say, keep your head up high. Everything is going well. God is at work. Something special is on its way. We will win, whether the enemy likes it or not. I'm encouraging you to keep your head up high and focus on the work ahead, because we are about to change Zimbabwe forever. Right? All right, so moving right along, guys, let me tell you one of the things that will excite me. I'm single, right? So I love a man of great minds. So the moment I find someone who's wise, I'm like, I'm going to camp right here. I need to learn from them. So there's a guy by the name Max Lion. He literally kind of having a business that is also called Max Lion. I don't know he much, but I've been fascinated by his tweets. So he said, if Zim was normal, Job Scala and Garivume and all political prisoners would be free. The system, the people, and certainly the judiciary would not be allowed, innocent people would not have allowed innocent people to be sent to prison. No one would entertain the idea of disqualifying a presidential candidate from running based on dubious reasons. We have a presidential candidate who is running his campaign from a neighboring country because his safety is not guaranteed. How did we get here? A country with no order is a dangerous country. A country with leaders who are not accountable to anyone is a dangerous country. A country with no rule of law is a dangerous country. It's shocking that those in power prefer a dysfunctional country because it allows them to get away with unacceptable behavior. It's impossible for them to play by the rules. No country can survive without order. Instead of leaders leading by example, they are irresponsible and behaving like the worst section of society. The country belongs to everyone. As such, it should be governed in the interests of everyone. Honorable leaders never tell people to do what leaders are not prepared to do. They subject themselves to the same laws and standards that everyone is subjected to. They don't see themselves as superior by operating above the law. To have order or sense of purpose, the whole country must be on the same page. Everyone must be convinced that the system works. It is absolutely essential for people to have confidence in their country. It will give people the freedom to be creative and pursue noble endeavors that will push the country forward. This can only happen with good leaders, and Zim needs good leaders. Powerful, powerful submissions. But this is what I'm going to say. Lately I've really been sitting and trying to ponder on what's going down in Zimbabwe. And one of the things I'm going to say can be a bit disappointing is to say I'm not focusing on the captured than the capturer. And let me explain to you why. Can we check our society today and actually see what's going on? We are a people who have allowed toxicity over the years. It started from a family level. And there were times that even if a man, I'm sorry, there are men right here and I love you and I respect you, but because you come from a family, and some of you actually victims of the very same culture where a father was extremely abusive, but he was above the law. No one could rebuke him in the family. And to a point where even if a woman had something to say, she could not say anything because the man is or was a god. It's very sad. If we don't think about this, then we're having a problem. Let's look at the way the chiefs are operating. They also operate as gods. The chiefs in our areas, sub-books, they can accuse people stuff and they can, whatever they decree stands. And this is an era where we can look at ourselves in Zimbabwe and say, we are the people that God is going to use to bring sanity. And it may not sound like it because when I speak, I know some people won't understand. But in every generation, God will always find someone that he uses to bring sanity. And Zimbabwe will be that country. If you look left, right, and center, you can see that we are surrounded. It's very sad. We are like those kids in a very dysfunctional family where you go to the north, the father is like that, to the right. The families have given up. You can go to Ango's house and they'll say, we can't help. Your father's difficult, we can't help him. So this is why on a side, like most of these bodies can't help Zimbabweans because our challenges don't even need an external influence. We can do it on our own. But it's a culture that we have been nursing over the years. And I know not everybody, but unfortunately, Because of ignorance, most people thought that was normal. But here we are today. We are sitting with evil people who are literally treating people like animals. We are sitting with people that have turned to be gods. And the only way, and I repeat, the only way to unseat this evil master is by engaging spiritual weapons. Because it's a spiritual war. Because one of the goals of the enemy is to steal, to kill, and destroy. We all know that, right? Yes. I was telling someone recently, I said, can I be honest? I'm a person who no longer have faith in education. And I even said to my sister, I said, education is very limited because you have to be boxed to think within the parameters of books that were written by people who were thinking within the parameters of their own capability, right? And here we are, forced to think in the very same manner, which means we have educated people in our country, but who are being given money. For example, you're being given $1 million. Are you being given $1 million to destroy the lives of millions? They don't think because they're just within the parameters of books. But I've always said to people, if you give me $1 billion, I won't take it. Do you know why? Because my principles won't let me. So it's not the amount of money, it's my principles. I understand that I will not have sleepless nights because of your $1 billion. Because even if I don't have money, but as long as I've got my peace, I can still make money. For me, what I value is joy and peace and love and unity. But here we are with our brothers and our sisters who are being captured. And we think we can fight the capturer. I'm busy focusing on the captured. Because if our principles and values were intact, we wouldn't be where we are today as a Zimbabwean people, can we? So we need to get to a point where we take full responsibility, but still bring sanity in our communities and know that, guys, we are an amazing people. We must never allow people to take that away from us. It's very sad, but it is what it is. But I wanted you to listen to my brother, whom I respect, who also had some submissions on Al Jazeera, because there was a meeting that they had there. It was an interview. It was quite three people there. And he submitted such powerful submissions that I want you guys to take a listen to. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I don't think anything can be done in the short term because we've got structural issues and we've got psychological issues. Let me talk first about the structural issues. Zimbabwe's economy, if you look at some of the earnings that are coming into the country, is a monopolistic economy where you've got big corporates that are basically in the formal sector, in the mining and agriculture sector and the retail sector. And then they are contributing about 30% of GDP. Then you've got 70% of GDP coming from the informal sector that is highly unregulated and subsistence. So when it comes to actually economic policy, what is happening is that, as we saw, for example, last week when the Minister of Finance came up with various policy measures, they just don't work because the informal sector is immune, or maybe it do not recognize formal policy. They operate on the ground on a day-to-day basis. So the governor of the Reserve Bank and the minister and policymakers are facing a significant challenge in that formal economic policy is not working in Zimbabwe. For example, you increase interest rates and maybe the formal sector stops borrowing, but there's still money circulating in the informal economy. The estimates are that, for example, they're contributing about 6% of GDP, just the informal economy. And so that is the structure where the informal economy is very focused on currency, where they are trading with the US dollar. They prefer the US dollar. We always argue that they've actually dollarized. And what is happening is that when the government issues local money, that money finds itself to the parallel market because no one is really interested in the US dollar. So there's an argument: do we dollarize the economy or do we leave it as it is with the market currency? And in my opinion, as long as we leave this economy in a market currency, we are always going to have inflation because people will prefer the US dollars and they're prepared to buy the US dollars at any price, which of course increases the price of goods and services. So that's on the money side. Then you've got issues such as a very low employment level, a dilapidating infrastructure when it comes to actually providing social services such as health and education. And we basically have what I call a patronage economy, where, for example, you have to be aligned with the political party in order for you to access opportunities, which is crowding out a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people. And you've had a lot of migration outside, who have gone outside the country in disgust because they're not able to explore the opportunities in the country. Then, obviously, we go to the issue of corruption, which is a serious issue that everybody feels is not being addressed adequately. There have been stories that have come out, including the gold mafia issue, and it seems that the government has not actually done much on actually, making sure that they actually apprehend the people involved and actually address corruption seriously. So those are the issues that continue to actually worry a lot of people here. And in my opinion, that is not going to change overnight, because we now have a psychological issue where the value system or people are used to actually cutting corners. The informal sector is unregulated. People don't pay their taxes. People want to make as much profit as possible. Everybody is profiteering, is looking after their interests. So we don't have a kind of structured way forward to say, listen, this is what we want to achieve in the long term.
And when he talks about how messed up we are psychologically, I completely understand. I want you guys to take a listen to Farai Marapira, the new ZANU-PF spokesperson, or maybe he's working with Mr. Mutangwa. Just take a listen to what this man is saying.
By and large, our elections have been very peaceful. It is an obvious thing that the opposition plays like a bad record. Every time they come up with the same excuses to seek relevance, because they themselves have got no proper mandate with which to deliver to the people. So they try to create false accusations. If they have any substance, then they should be showing the substance of their accusations that they're saying. Because we can't say someone can just come on camera and start laying out accusations without any substance behind them. If you're going to apply to have a rally, you know the terms of application, what is required, and the time limits. You find that the opposition leader was in Zaka and was complaining that the police were telling him that it was time to leave, when actually the time by which his rally should have finished had elapsed. So these people are used to grandstanding and playing to the gallery and playing to cameras. Okay. So it's quite unfortunate that we don't have that kind of maturity in our politics within the opposition.
The lies that he tells. It's like you're dealing with psychopath. You're dealing with, the people that are mad, those ones in the mental institutions are better than the kind of people we're dealing with in Zimbabwe. Psychologically, they are messed up. It's a system that eroded people's thinking over the years, and it's so deep. Now, that's when you know that education is important. I'm sorry, but thinking outside of the box is what's needed in Zimbabwe today. Men of integrity are nowhere to be found. Men who respect themselves. These are fathers who are supposed to protect, to love, to guide, to mold. Now, the question all of you should ask is, how is he going to raise his kids when he can change to become a monster by just the words on television, and he gets warm and be someone's husband? And the women, where are you? Sometimes I feel like we are where we are now because of women. Yeah, I'm telling you, if some of these men that are there were my husband, I could have put a stop to it a long time ago. Yes, I could have put a stop to it. We need wise women who are able to speak wisdom into men, because most men in Zimbabwe, especially in those leadership spaces, are eroded. They are messed up. They are power, money hungry, and they will do anything to have the money. But what they don't realize, that it will come with a cost. Generations after them will pay for their sins. That's when the Bible speaks about that, and children pays or they suffer because of the sins of their fathers. It's a generation that don't realize the consequences that will come with their actions. They think they're just going to get away with it. Look at that man there. You heard that he went to campaign in a jet. Went to campaign by jetting. Literally, he flew to campaign in the rural areas. Look at him. As poverty mentality. That mentality of don't realize that, no, it's not about you flying. It's about you think about your brothers, your sisters who haven't eaten. It's when we come together, hold hands and say, we together, we can do more, we can do greater things. It's not about me alone and me be seen Waenda kumusha, you're getting in the rural area, you are jetting, you are landing. What an embarrassment. And then what? You know, if I travel home, there are things that I don't normally do. Wearing expensive shoes to do what? For who? This is what I'm saying. It's the poverty mentality that have destroyed Zimbabwe. That people who do anything so that I can be seen. It's a mental problem, psychological problems. I'm just praying that God is going to free us. And I know that Citizen Coalition for Change, they're pursuing the matter, and they will definitely going to go to the Supreme Court. And by the way, I want to tell you boys and my brothers and sisters that all of you, you're going to be on the ballot. Don't worry, let's go to the Supreme Court. God is with us, and he'll fight to the end. We don't lose, but we win always. So tell me what you think, guys, in the comment section below. Because until next time, I love you so much. Guys, thank you for sticking around, because this is your podcast. It's our home. God bless Zimbabwe.